Welcome, architects, to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a blueprint and building a literal digital fortress. Now, when you first move your operations to the cloud, it can definitely feel a bit overwhelming, but Azure's complex security suite is basically your set of tools and materials to build a defensive cloud castle. We're going to explore exactly how to stack those blocks to keep your most valuable data completely safe from modern threats.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our architectural blueprint for today's explainer so we don't get lost in all the cybersecurity acronyms. First, the shared security model. Second, your security command center. Third, protecting the crown jewels. Fourth, layering your defenses. And finally, securing the network perimeter.
Section 1. The shared security model. Moving to cloud data centers fundamentally shifts security from a solo mission to a shared responsibility between you and Microsoft.
All right, so here is the massive aha moment when it comes to cloud security. Notice this breakdown across software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and your classic on-premises setups. Microsoft actually handles the physical hosts, the physical network, and the physical data center in the cloud. You literally don't have to worry about replacing hard drives or putting heavy locks on server room doors anymore. But as you move up the stack, data, endpoints, accounts, and identity, those are always your responsibility. It's kind of like having the strongest physical castle walls in the world built by Microsoft, but if you leave your passwords in plain text, well, you're essentially leaving the castle gates wide open with a giant "Welcome Hackers" sign out front. Identity is the new perimeter, and keeping it secure is absolutely on you.
Moving on to Section 2, your security command center. It's time to transition from the foundation to the watchtower and look at the tools we need to monitor our newly built fortress.
First up in the watchtower is the Azure Security Center. You can really think of this as your daily hygiene dashboard. It continuously collects and analyzes log data from your resources to sniff out real active threats. It's pretty amazing, actually. It actively provides actionable security recommendations, detects and blocks malware, analyzes potential attacks, and even enables just-in-time access control for your ports, which just means your ports are only open exactly when they absolutely need to be. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it aggregates all of those incredibly complex, microscopic findings into a single, highly readable metric right there at the top left, your secure score. You don't need to sift through thousands of lines of raw log data to know if you're safe. You just look right here and instantly know your current security posture. It's a fantastic, quick visual reality check of your resource security hygiene and even your regulatory compliance.
As your cloud footprint grows, you're inevitably going to run into two heavy acronyms in cloud security, SIEM and SOAR. Let's demystify these right now. SIEM, or Security Information Management, is basically your all-seeing radar gathering intelligence across your entire enterprise. And SOAR? That stands for Security Automated Response. This is your automated rapid response team that instantly springs into action to mitigate threats the literal second that radar detects a breach.
And Azure brings those two crucial concepts together in a really brilliant cloud-native tool called Azure Sentinel. As you can see, it relies on a continuous loop: collect, detect, investigate, and respond. It hooks right into Office 365 and Azure Active Directory to give you comprehensive security analytics across the whole enterprise. So it's not just sitting there watching, it's actively learning and reacting to keep you safe.
All right, Section 3, protecting the crown jewels. Let's head deep into the innermost vault of our fortress where the most critical, sensitive assets live.
So, the crucial point is, where do you actually put your most sensitive application passwords, keys, and certificates? Enter Azure Key Vault. This is a literal digital safe located in a centralized cloud location. It handles all your centralized secrets and certificate management, and what makes it a true vault is that it stores these secrets backed by actual physical hardware security modules, or HSMs. This gives you tightly logged, absolute control over exactly who or what is accessing your most precious data.
But what if you need that elite, top-tier level of isolation for your actual virtual machines? Well, that's exactly where Azure Dedicated Host comes into play. For ultimate hardware isolation, this service provides physical servers dedicated entirely to a single organization's workload. That means you aren't sharing the physical machine with any other Azure customers, period. It gives you hardware isolation right at the server level, plus complete control over when maintenance events happen. It's essentially your own private island, safely secured inside the massive Azure data center.
Section 4. Layering your defenses. This introduces the core concept of defense in depth, building multiple protective walls, so if one is breached, the others still stand. Defense in depth is a layered approach. We start way on the outside with physical security, then move inward to identity and access, the perimeter, the network, compute, application, and finally, nestled at the very center, your data. The real beauty of this setup is that attacks against one layer are successfully isolated from the subsequent layers. A crack in your perimeter doesn't automatically mean your data is compromised, because the attacker still has to painstakingly smash through the network, compute, and application layers to ever get to the prize.
Finally, Section 5, Securing the Network Perimeter. Let's talk about the literal walls and moat, controlling the flow of traffic in and out of your Azure virtual networks.
Your absolute baseline defense here comes from network security groups, or NSGs. Think of NSGs as the completely unforgiving guards at the gate. They filter network traffic by setting rigid inbound and outbound rules based on source and destination IPs, ports, and protocols. If the incoming traffic doesn't meet the exact, specific rules you've laid out, it's blocked. They only permit specific, approved traffic to pass between your networked resources.
But basic guards alone just aren't enough for a true enterprise fortress. To achieve real defense in depth, you've got to combine those NSGs with Azure Firewall. Azure Firewall is a stateful, managed firewall as a service with built-in high availability. It seamlessly applies those filtering rules across your entire virtual environment. Combining the two creates an incredibly robust perimeter layer.
Now, we absolutely have to talk about keeping the fortress standing during an all-out siege. Distributed denial of service, or DDoS attacks, are violent, brute force attacks designed to completely overwhelm and exhaust your network resources. They try to make your apps painfully slow or completely unresponsive by unleashing a massive, overwhelming flood of traffic trying to fill your moat. Okay, but take a breath. Azure DDoS Protection steps in to handle this gracefully. It calmly sanitizes that unwanted network traffic between the attacker and your virtual network, stopping it before it can ever impact your service availability. It filters out all that malicious noise, so your legitimate users just keep getting through without a hitch.
So, we've explored the foundations, built the walls, set up the watchtower, and secured the inner vault. Now, keeping the shared responsibility model in mind, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Are your cloud resources a fortified digital fortress, or have you unknowingly left an open door? You have the tools, the blueprints, and the concepts to build a highly secure layered environment in Azure right now, but it's entirely up to you to put them into action. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, I highly encourage you to go log into your portal and check your own secure score today.